Iran activated its air defense as multiple blasts were reported over capital Tehran.
And this is the first since the fragile ceasefire came into effect 2 weeks ago. It was not clear what caused the explosions, while Iran's state news agency IRNA reported sounds of air defense firing in western Tehran, while the Mehr news agency reported that air defense systems were activated in several parts of the capital to counter hostile targets. An Israeli security source said that their country was not currently striking Iran.
Now, this came as President Donald Trump said that the U.S. is in no rush to end the war with Iran, but the clock is ticking. Now, taking to social media, Trump said, and I'm quoting, "I have all the time in the world, but Iran doesn't. The clock is ticking." Now, later talking to reporters at the White House, Trump declined to give a timeline for resolving the war. Listen to this.
How long are you willing to wait until you get a unified response?
Don't rush me, Jeff. Guys like you want to say, oh, so we were in Vietnam like for 18 years. We were in Iraq for many, many years. We're in for I don't like to say World War II because that was a biggie, but we were 4.5, almost 5 years in World War II. We were in the Korean War for 7 years. I've been doing this for 6 weeks.
While Trump ruled out the use of a nuclear weapon against Iran, the U.S. president also blamed what he described as a lack of clear leadership in Tehran for holding up talks. Listen to this.
They want to make a deal. We have been speaking to them, but they don't even know who's leading the country. They're in turmoil. They're in turmoil. So we thought we'd give them a little chance to get some of their turmoil resolved.
And responding to remarks from Trump suggesting that Iranian leadership was seriously fractured, the president, parliament speaker, and chief justice all posted a nearly identical message on social media. The message said that there are no hardliners or moderates in Iran, ending with a message of, I'm quoting here, one God, one nation, one leader, and one path.
A post on Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei's X account. It took aim at the enemy's media operations that seek to undermine unity and national security.
Meanwhile, the U.S. aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush has arrived in West Asia, bringing the number of American warships operating in the region to 3. A second carrier was deployed in the Red Sea on Thursday, while a third is also active in the region, according to social media posts by U.S. Central Command.
While both sides have escalated competing blockades on the Strait of Hormuz, U.S. forces have now redirected 33 vessels as part of the blockade, and they also boarded a stateless oil tanker in Indian Ocean, which the Pentagon claims was carrying Iranian crude. The operation came hours after Iran seized 2 container ships.
The reports indicate Iran used swarms of small, fast boats to carry out these seizures. Shipping experts say these fast attack craft are part of a layered threat system backed by shore-based missiles, drone, naval mines, and electronic warfare. Now, another major concern are the mines placed in along the critical shipping lane. And Axios report citing sources say Iran's Revolutionary Guards have deployed additional mines in the Strait of Hormuz this week. And this comes after President Donald Trump ordered the U.S. Navy to destroy any vessel caught laying mines in the vital waterway.
And to discuss more, we are now being joined by John Rosomandu from Washington, D.C. He is the president of Viking Research Associates, geostrategist and expert on national security. Thank you so much, John, for joining us in the broadcast.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. John, let's start with what we saw a few hours ago over Tehran. We understand that the air defense systems were activated over reports of hostile aerial activity. Now, this is the first since the ceasefire took place. And Israel has clearly said that it had no involvement. But it has clearly rattled the ceasefire. How are you reading into this?
Well, I think that you have a lot of fractures going on in the IRGC. I think that you probably have a lot of jumpy triggers for any sign of enemy or Israeli activity. Some reports have suggested the Israelis have been probing Iranian defenses, and there are reports today that Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio met in the White House to discuss an Israeli request to resume hostilities. My understanding is that Prime Minister Netanyahu is get back into the fight, whereas President Trump is a little bit more willing to move slowly. I think that the IRGC is calling the shots here and has no interest in peace.
And talking of Donald Trump, his statement that came in that U.S. is in no rush, as you also mentioned, and that he said that the clock is ticking for Iran. Do you think of this as a strategic patience, or is this a preparation for escalation, considering the fact that this is very different from the initial time when he said 4 weeks and now it's stretching? How long are we looking at? Because he also took examples of the Vietnam War and all the wars that U.S. Was part of. So how do you see this going? Are we looking at an elongated escalation?
Well, I think that President Trump is becoming more realistic rather than the statements he made for the media about things to be over in a few weeks, because the IRGC is very well entrenched. I mean, I think that the intelligence they had to start off underestimated how well entrenched the IRGC is, and I think that he's realizing that the only way that he has an Iran without a nuclear weapon is an Iran without the Islamic Republic and an Iran without the IRGC.